If you're an online coach and looking in terms of how to scale your business and also make a make and break decision in terms of leaving a safe career, we've got an awesome story today with Elisha. And what makes this even more exciting is Elisha's also a mother of 3 kids and has also taken this inspiring change in terms of career and is now crushing it as an online coach. Thank you very much for your time today.
You're very welcome.
The first question I wanted to ask you is, what would you say to anyone who's in a situation where they're thinking about taking the plunge from going from like the safety of a job to go and pursue what they're really passionate about? Because I've been there, like I was an estate agent and I did a similar thing of like had to take the plunge from safety of like the 9 to 5 to go and do what you love to do.
I suppose for me, like that, I had the safety of a almost 20-year career working in TV, fairly successful. And so when this opportunity came about, you know, I really had to put a lot of thought into it because, you know, I was getting a wage, I was supporting my kids, you know, and things were fine. But I always knew that I wanted to leave TV because it wasn't sustainable for me raising my kids. I was on the road a lot. So only really around October last year, I had started toying with the idea of getting into coaching because I fell in love with fitness through my own journey, you know, and I just wanted to be able to help other people do that. And it was just an idea in October last year. And then I finished up a job in December, and come January, I really started putting more thought into it. And then by the end of January, I was having a conversation with Sam, and everything just felt right. But for me to leave that, I was scared. I was really scared. What if it didn't work out? What if I was a shit coach? What if I couldn't support my kids? But then what if it did? And I got on talking with Sam, and Sam was telling me everything that was, you know, that could be possible. And it really sparked something in me. So I then decided I'm either going to go all in and work my ass off for the next few months and see what could happen, or I'm going to half-arse it, keep working in TV, try and do the coaching without any guidance, and probably fuck it up. So I just decided after, you know, not very much thought, it just felt right to just do it. And I have had 0 regrets about doing it. I mean, you know, and for anyone that's thinking about doing it, is you can either make that decision to go all in and try, or you can keep fucking about for the next while and have months of regret because you just didn't do it when the opportunity presented itself.
I think there's a couple of things to look at, and it's like people say it's like being the right place at the right time. It's being the right person in the right place at the right time. And you're clearly the right person in the right place at the right time for you at that present moment. Yeah,
it definitely was. Like, you know, I had just finished a job and I was waiting for another job to happen, and the uncertainty of that was pissing me off. So, and then, you know, the conversation with Sam, and everything just fell into place. And I took a huge gamble. Like, I used, you know, my savings, not knowing when I was going to get another job again, to invest in myself, invest into the program. And, you know, I was either going to do it or wasn't, and I just had to try. But I knew with everything that was offered within the program, this was the best chance I had.
What's been the biggest surprise about what you've done so far?
How much I've done so far and how fast I've done it. Because, again, having that initial conversation with Sam, and he was telling me, oh, in 6 months' time you could be doing X, Y, and Z, and I was like, this guy's full of shit. Like, what is he talking about? That's a long way off for me, but, you know, I can try and I can hope. And within 2-3 months of joining the program, I was doing all the things that he had already said I was going to be doing in 6 months. So that was the biggest surprise, was at how fast I was growing the business.
How old are your kids? What do the kids think of it?
My kids love it. My kids love the fact that I'm around, that I'm not always gone on the road. My kids actually they always say to me how strong I am. They've seen my physical transformation, but they've also reaped the rewards of my mental transformation as well, and the change in my mindset. You know, I know I'm a better parent, I know I'm a better mum, but I know I inspire them as well. You know, they're quite active and they're quite fit, and they push through their own hurdles when it comes to their activities and their sports, because they're quite sporty. So like, I know I am being a good role model to them, and they love it. They love the fact that I'm around, and that's the whole point of me doing this, is to give myself more time with my family.
What do you think has made you specifically successful at doing this? Because a lot of people come into online coaching and then they struggle, and in my opinion it's because a lot of them are like dabblers.
Yeah.
Whereas you were like,
Yeah. I think that was the main thing, and I think because I was so ready, I just was so ready to make that change, and I went in with the mindset that I just want to try and help as many people as possible, because I've been through my own journey, and fitness has changed me in ways that nothing else could have. I just wanted to help other people achieve that as well. And I just think it was that. It was just being ballsy and just going, I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to just go all in.
Also, coming from Ireland, respectfully, a lot of people have limiting beliefs, or they've like, people almost try and like push people down who want to go out and do something different. How did you overcome any of that, or is that something that you were concerned with in the process?
Oh, 100%. I was very concerned about it. There was definitely people around me that were like, is this the right thing? You've not coached before. We know your love for fitness, but is this something you can make a career out of? Having had a successful career already. So there definitely was that, and that those little voices were in my head, and I said it to Gavin yesterday. The biggest thing for me with this has been working with Gavin and the mindset shift. The shift in not believing in myself, because when I started believing in myself, whatever anybody else said to me didn't matter, and that was the biggest thing for me. Is even from the first session with Gavin, it was like, oh yeah, I can do this. It was just getting over those beliefs.
So one of the big things I'm a huge believer in, which is why we have a mindset coach, Gavin, is that like your internal thoughts will like decide everything in terms of like your external success. What was the biggest thing that he said to you, the biggest thing that made a difference?
What was the biggest thing
that made a difference for you in terms of a mindset perspective? Was there anything he said specifically, or anything that stands out?
It's just everything in general. It's the weeks of, I suppose, the ups and the downs. Because, you get on this program and, you have all of this self-doubt. You start talking to Gavin, brings you back up, and you're like, yeah, I can do this. And then you have this little drop again, and you're like, oh, fuck, can I do this? And then it's having that support there from Gavin continuously, and shifting and adapting to the situations, and just having his continued support, I think, giving me different tasks to do to overcome things within the business and within my personal life as well. It hasn't just been about the business. But what I will say is that working with Gavin and having a mindset coach has definitely changed me and helped me grow as a person much more in the last 5 months than I have in years.
In terms of the success you've had, and obviously also managing 3 kids, a lot of people say they don't have time, or I can't do this because of X, Y, Z. Like, how do you manage around that practically?
It was a bit of a shit show at the beginning, to be honest. It really was. But again, being in the program, having the support of Jack helping me, Gavin helping me, really pin down a schedule has really helped. So, like, I've done the thing where I've had to get up and start getting up at 5:30 a.m. and it's been super beneficial because I'm really productive in that time, So I'd get up around 5:30 in the morning, do maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours if the kids don't get up early, and then get really productive work done. Bring the kids to creche, school, and then I would go and do a bit of training myself, and then I'm back home and I'm in work mode until maybe about 3 or 4. We do our daily calls at 3, so try to make as many of them, and then come the evening the kids come home about 5, and then I'm generally kind of on mom mode then.
What would you say the biggest difference to your personal life this has made?
Oh, where do I start? I think I've massively grown as a person, and I've put an awful lot of boundaries in place now. My time is really precious, so I'm very, very conscious. I'm going to just wait for that to go.
Yeah, it won't pick that up.
Is it not?
Yeah.
So I'd be very conscious about how I am spending my time now. So, I do have a lot of boundaries in place, and might have rubbed a few people up the wrong way, but I'm okay to take that. It's definitely helped my confidence in my personal life and in my business, and it's just all aspects of my personal life have improved.
When you look back to even like 12 months ago, could you imagine yourself in the position you're in now?
I thought of that this morning, and like if I tried to look back on myself 7 months ago, 8 months ago, I could never ever imagine myself in this position.
Because we're currently sitting here in Marbella doing a podcast. We're obviously in the event for the last 2 days, and I think that's just an example in terms of how quickly life can change.
Yeah.
And like, I showed at the event a lot of the goals I had in 2019, and like that was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4.5 years ago. And it shows how quickly things compound if you just are ambitious and you just do the thing and you set bigger goals. But I think the big problem is most people don't set big enough goals, because then they set small goals and don't do enough to try and achieve them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think had I not got on the program, like I would never be here. Do you know? And I remember seeing things popping up on Instagram like 6, 7, 8 months ago of people going to all these kind of mastermind events, and I was like, oh my God, they're really cool, those kind of things. I'd love to maybe one day go to that. And here I am, like 5, 6 months later, here, like being totally inspired by the whole 2 days that were put out. Which like I've left with so many like productive things to get going with. And I just think you just have to be able to put all in. You get what you put in, isn't it? You get out what you put in. And if you're going to put in a shitload, you're going to get out a shitload.
What was the biggest thing you took from the weekend?
I think it was just the belief that it is possible. Like, it is possible to achieve great things. And you can achieve them a lot faster than you think. Totally inspired by all the talkers, like Rob, a fellow Irishman, like his energy is just incredible. It's, your story as well about how you scaled so fast and just went all in as well. So I just think Gavin's 90-day plan, I'm going home, I'm being really productive. I've already started putting things in place. But I just think, I think surrounding myself with people that have been who are trying to get to where you guys are, who are where you guys are, like just that similar mindset. It's infectious.
And that's, I think, the most important thing people don't understand is the importance of your environment.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if this actually seems familiar for you, but like when you're in a corporate job and then you leave and you like see behind the curtain of like how life can be, like how how was I even doing this beforehand?
Yeah.
Whereas like you now work from home, you can set your own schedule, you can do what you want. Whereas like for me, one of the biggest motivators is I never want to go back to doing that before. So that's one of the reasons I'm so driven, is to like not screw up so you're back in that position. But I also think that's where people, they get stuck and they get too comfortable in life. But they have to understand that you have to make big decisions to then be able to have the things you want in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I could have kept going in TV for years and years, and I knew eventually I would either burn out with it or, work would get quieter and I would struggle financially. So something had to change, and like I said, it was just the timing. But the freedom it has given me to work as a coach and have the support of everybody around me has made me realize, because even at the beginning I was like, oh, maybe I should just take a little TV job just to tie me over, because I was worried. You worry that you won't get to where you want to be, but I'm never going back.
How do you overcome having imposter syndrome? Is that something you still feel sometimes?
Yeah.
And if so, like for anyone listening to this, I would actually say it's completely normal. Someone asked me a while ago, like, when did you get rid of that? It's probably like 9 months ago. So it's not even that like after like doing loads of crazy shit. So it's like, that's normal, because I think when you have an imposter syndrome, it will force you to like keep working.
Yeah.
How do you overcome that, and maybe how has that changed for you since like day one to like where you are now?
I suppose it's hard to overcome. Like, it's still obviously it's there. Like, it's there every week. I question myself, but you get on a group call with Gavin, and he tells you all the things that you need to hear and gives you all the tools that you need to overcome it. But changing, like, I'll never be like, that was always going to be there, I think, for now, you know. But knowing the things that I've achieved in the short amount of time means I'm doing something right. So, you know, it kind of chips that little imposter syndrome away a little bit more each time.
And that's where I think the most important thing for when people lack confidence is they haven't had enough success yet. So it's like, you need to almost stack so many wins that you can look back on and be like, well, I've done all this stuff, then clearly I'm going to be successful for the next few months, because everyone's going to have periods, myself included, where like times are more difficult or like things don't go the way you want. But I think that's where it's also important to look back, like maybe where you were 12 months ago, where you were a few months ago, to where you are now. You're like, well, I just overcame all these things, then whatever's difficult right now I can overcome. And
that's the funny thing though as well, is because, you know, because through the ups and downs, before, when there would have been downs, like, you know, in my past career or whatever, I would have like been freaking out, right? But with this, it's like Gavin has given me so many good tools to go, okay, take a step back, figure out what it is you need to do to get things going again, and implement those, you know. So it's just that total shift in mindset to be able to get through, because there's always going to be ups and downs, like, you know. It's how you respond to them that is going to ultimately tell, you know.
And I think that's the same for even the clients you work with.
Yeah.
Like, people on a fitness journey, they're going to struggle with weeks where they're off track more than they're on track.
Yeah.
And it's your abilities as a coach to guide them through that. But that's why I think it's also, when you are a fitness coach, you sometimes should like reflect on the advice you give other people. You should also take on board yourself.
Yeah, it's really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like the same thing for me, as I give people great advice, and sometimes I say something to someone, I'm like, that's very conceptual to like, and relevant to where I am, where I've been thinking the last few days. Like, you need to actually take that on board as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time we're our own toughest critics, which is good, but which is actually why I think one of the best things people can do is look over like a longer period of time, like what you have achieved previously.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, you know, it's only been 5 months. I've had Jack constantly saying to me, you're scaling really fast, you're doing really well. And, you know, it's having that constant support, somebody saying, you know, you are doing a lot of the things that we said you were going to do because we believe in you. And it's having that person or people believe in you that you can do it that really drives you forward as well.
How many clients do you have now?
I have 30 clients.
Which is very quick in 5 months.
Yeah, like the end of February, basically started taking on clients, and now I have 30.
What was your goal when you first started?
Gosh, I don't know. I think by the end of the 6 months, I was hoping to have maybe 10 to 15.
But this is interesting. So then, this is also why I think if you just had bigger goals from the beginning, you'd have gone quicker as well.
Yeah, I know.
Because the limiting beliefs of setting smaller goals was probably capping you as well.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
why like, a lot the last 2 days I was like, set really, really big goals, because it will force you to like change the way you think.
I was constantly in my notebook. I was like writing a goal, and then I was like, no, screw it out, double it.
Yeah. And there's a really good book I'd recommend for this. Is called 10x is easier than 2x. And basically the theory is, which is true, is like, if you want to 10x what you're doing right now, you have to look at your business in a different way, whereas you can probably double it doing the same things you're doing. But if you wanted to 10x it, it's going to be a completely different way to get there than what you're doing right now.
And that would have been a wild thought for me 5 months ago. Like, crazy to think you can make 100,000 in a month. Crazy, beyond belief. That's never going to happen. And then over the weekend, I'm sitting in a room with people who are doing that and crushing it, and other people that are on their way doing it. And in that short space of time, the belief has changed, and it is possible. I could be sitting here next year getting 100,000.
We'll give you a plaque.
Getting a plaque, you know?
But that's, I think, the most important thing, because the big thing for me is like proof it can be done. And when you physically see the person doing it, who was also from Ireland, who teaches farmers to get in shape, and he's from like rural Ireland, you're then like, well, if he's done it, why can't I do it?
Yeah, and it was that thing as well, you know, one of the guests you had, Ryan Fish, on the mastermind, and on the
group training course.
Yeah, sorry. So and it was when he said, you know, get in a room with those people, have the conversations with those people, because obviously, you know, I have a lot of commitments at home with the kids and things like that, so I was kind of like, oh, won't I go to Marbella? And then it was after that I was like, no, I need to be there, I need to go.
Because the thing is, it's not even like, yes, you learn from like the experts and me and whoever, but like, you also, the conversations you have with other people there, you pick up a lot of other stuff. Yeah. But it's also the self-belief you get when you see the other people who are crushing it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I spoke to people in the room that are on the program as well, that like only a few months ago were where I am, and now they're absolutely killing it as well, you know. So having those conversations, bouncing things off each other, talking about potential collaborations, and you know, it's just such good energy.
What's your goal for the next 6 months?
Ooh, the goal for the next 6 months is, I think I'm going to double clients.
Okay.
I want to hit by the end of the 6 months, I want to have a 25k month.
That's easy enough to do.
Yeah, I think so.
If 0 to 25k in 25k a month within 12 months is wild.
Yeah, massive, like, yeah, absolutely. But it's totally achievable.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, like, I could go bigger, you know, but let's just, we'll get to the 25 and then we'll
yeah, and I
pick it
think,
up.
but one of the things is you can do that goal, but I would condense the time frames. Like, can I do that in quarter 3 of the year?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things, like, say you want to double your client base, it's like, so, okay, you want to go 30 to 60, you could do that in 3 months.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you look at what you've done already. So I think that's sometimes where it's like, having goals is really important, but then it's just trying to break down how many calls do you then need to book to do that.
Yeah.
How many clients you need to sign up, and then like reverse engineer things back. So if you need 30 clients, how many sales calls do you need to book? Say, for example, if you close 1 in 3, then you need to book 90 sales calls.
Yeah.
Like, and then be like, okay, cool, that's the goal. We need to get 90 sales calls.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole great thing about the 90-day goals with Gavin yesterday as well. It's like, you know, I've had it written in a book, but it's not like it's implementing it. It's doing things every day to get to that place.
And the best advice I'd give for that is like, I literally get sticky notes and just put on my computer screen. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. So then like, I get bored and I'm like doing computer roulette, going different apps. I then like look like, this is what I need to do, so then I need to get back to
refocus.
Yeah, refocus.
I know it's difficult though. It is, because like I'm not the type of person, like I probably like yourself, I can't sit for very long, you know. So I do, and my attention does go. So it's like having a clear, literally written in front of you, getting this shit done today. This has to be done.
What's been your biggest surprise about working with us?
Just the level of support, like just, you know, because I had spoken to other mentorships beforehand, and it was like, okay, you have one coach and they'll help you do this, that. It's the amount of support, and the coaches, like the mindset coach, the coach, the sales coach, everybody. It's like the amount of support has been incredible, and that's been the most beneficial thing to me, I think.
What do you think's been your biggest strength in terms of why you've been successful? Jack was saying you're really good at sales.
I think I didn't realise how good at sales I was until I started doing them, because I've never worked in sales. Like, I could do content all day. You know, I'll film and edit and do all of that by myself, no problem. When it comes to sales, I never done it. Didn't know. I had no gauge, no measure of how I would be with sales. But in a way, it was kind of good, because I started the training with Joe and I took the pointers from the very start. So I had no bad habits to get rid of or anything like that. So I just implemented everything Joe taught, and it seemed to work.
I think that's true, because it's like often people, when you come into something and you've got no previous like bias to anything, and if you learn from the best person straight away, you just learn the best practices, and that's what's normal. And you don't have all these stupid things that you've been doing for years that are like bad habits you need to get rid of. It's like people who've been training really badly for 10 years, you're trying to teach them how not to do something again. You just learn the right thing straight away. Yeah,
exactly. And I almost as well, I had the benefit of coming from being a producer and just knowing how to talk to people, do you know? So that really did stand by me. But also, you know, just connecting with people. I love talking, I love connecting with people, and that was kind of a strength that helped me in my sales.
What do you think is the biggest carryover from your professional career to online coaching that's helped you?
I think definitely being able to create good content. Sometimes I take too long, because I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to it, and I overthink it all, you know. But definitely getting comfortable in front of the camera a lot faster than someone maybe that, say, hasn't worked with cameras or done any of that stuff before.
What would be your advice to someone who, like women watching this, who are struggling with confidence on camera maybe?
On camera, I would just say, just do it more. It's like anything. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Just keep doing it. And it will feel silly and it will feel weird at first and you'll cringe. But I mean, I remember doing like my first stories on Instagram talking as well. And I was like blushing as I was putting it up going, oh my God, that's shit. But just do it anyways. And I kept just doing it and I do it. And, you know, it gets easier. It just gets easier the more you do it.
And I think that's where the number one thing that holds everyone back is fear.
Yeah.
Obviously, I talked about that at the event. Like, your brain is wired for safety.
Yeah.
So if you want to be successful, you have to understand that, like, when you're actually afraid to do something is actually probably when you need to go and do it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing, you know, the fear is the thing that stops us from doing anything.
What would you say to women who are maybe mothers who are thinking about starting online coaching businesses, whether it's something that they should do as a career or whether there's a market for it?
There's a huge market for it. And 100%, if they're on the fence about it, do it, because the freedom it gives you, and ultimately, yes, you have to work hard. You know, it's not going to happen overnight, and it takes a lot of work. But my goal is time freedom and financial freedom to have and be able to spend with my kids. And if you put the work in, you'll absolutely get there.
I love that. That's a really good piece of advice to finish on. Thank you very much for your time. Where's the best place for people to find out more about you?
Elisha Forde Fitness. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook as well.
Make sure you shoot her a follow. If you took some value from the podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And if you want help in terms of scaling your own online coaching business, you can hit the link below this video. You can speak to Sam, you can speak to the rest of the team, find out how we can help you, and it can be another success story of Elisha.
Thanks,
Thank
Charlie.
you. That's really, really good. Thank you.
Thank you.